and electricity are basically a key to survive in every world. By restoring it, player can not only unlock the water or electricity in the area, but he can also, based on his decision, assign it to one of the factions, which will influence how the district looks like or who's going to live inside of it. But it also, what is pretty more important for a player, unlock new tools for him, like unique tools for each factions, like car traps, zip lines, or a trampoline, that player can use in exploration to deal with bandits or infected, or simply to move faster through the city. So basically, based on your choices, you shape the game environment, which gives you a different experience every time you start a new game. And what is worth mentioning here that Dying Light 2 is playable up to 4 co-op players. So you can host the game or join other players and see how their choices came up differently to your own.
Right.
Interesting.
There's one thing I'm really curious about, though. Night versus day. How does the gameplay differ from the night and the day?
Well, the short answer is that day is for humans and night is for the monsters. But to describe it a little bit better, I would say that during the day, humans, factions, bandits, or survivors scavenging the city and searching for some scraps or someone who might have them. And this is the best time for a player to explore the city, meet its citizens, learn the stories, day-to-day agenda, or even simply help them in a quest or open-world activities to survive those dark ages.
Yeah, and that sounds quite pleasant, but I'm guessing night changes everything.
Exactly, exactly. During the night, all the infected get out of the buildings, and compared to the Dying Light 1, the night is going to be even more intense this time. Intense in terms of the amount of enemies, the new types, and new, more aggressive behaviors. And what is important, this time, night can mean also opportunity. An opportunity for the players who are courage and skilled enough to use the fact that all the infected are outside and buildings are accessible to explore them and search for the most valuable loot in the game.
Katarzyna, you're responsible for the post-apocalyptic look of the city. Can you tell us a little bit how about the city became to look that way?
Yes. I guess the important thing to realize is in 2025, a decision was made to use a chemical attack to stop the spread of the Haran virus. And the result string of chemically active areas around the city. Some of the chemicals have gotten into the groundwater and spread under the surface, killing every living plant and every living thing in its reach. What it means for the city is that the street levels are virtually dead. The soil is unable to sustain any life, any plant, and the street level is a domain of the monsters, just decaying in every aspect.
Wow, so it sounds like there's just no healthy organic life down there at all.
Not really. The survival on the street level is pretty tough. So the common people are just visitors there. But the life prevailed. It moved up to the rooftops. And this is where the plants are flourishing and blooming in the post-apocalyptic landscape. And this is where people build and develop the new world of Dying Light 2, electricity producing windmills and safe zones for the player. And in a way, in a metaphorical sense, the rooftops are the new default ground floor, the level 0, and trip to the streets is, in a way, a trip underground, a -1 of sorts, just a corpse of a lost civilization.
Wow.
Intense.
Yeah, to say the least. I can't imagine being a citizen living in that city, let alone being a player, and how challenging that's going to be.
Yeah, and hold that thought. Thank you very much for joining us today, but it's now time to introduce our next guests.
With us now are Bartosz and Peter. And guys, I have one question about the open world in Dying Light 2. How big is it?
It's pretty big.
We know that. Can you tell us a little bit more?
Yes, of course. The map in Dying Light 2 is divided into 2 huge regions and several zones.
Okay.
There are plenty leftovers from the lost civilization for you to scavenge. But we didn't want our players to perceive the map only horizontally. So we see the map as a multi-level 3D world that supports your traversal and helps you solve parkour puzzles.
Yes, in-house we call it multi-layer open world exploration. And you know, the movement system from Dying Light 1, we remove every restriction from the player. You can move everywhere you want, how you want to do it. And when I think about it, I think that was a big challenge for us to create the geometry that support all of that. And we did it, and I think we did it well. Doing the same thing in Dying Light 2 wasn't our goal. We want to make one or more step forward to surprise the player expectation. That's why we doubled the number of parkour moves.
Doubled. And I mean, it's not like there was a shortage in Dying Light 1, so what?
Yes, the iconic Dying Light 1 parkour is essential there. We improve it. We double the number of parkour moves. The players will see over 3,000 different parkour animations.
Wow.
From the basic move, through the tricks, to the small little tasty details there that you can see it.
Okay, well, unfortunately, I'm going to have to stop you there, but don't hate me because in the next episode, we're going to be talking more about parkour and how to make an authentic urban running experience in Dying Light 2.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for the information. Touch, Peter, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so the last and arguably the most important question I'm sure you have is when is the release date?
Yeah, that is a very, 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 very important question.
And luckily, we have the answer. And that answer is the 7th of December.
Waited years to say that out loud. And now that we know the release date of the game, it's time for you to go pre-order it. Go to dyinglight.com/pre-order, select your platform, and then hit pre-order. And there you go. Congratulations. You just pre-ordered one of the most anticipated games of this year. Go you! Oh, wow. I want one.
Well, I've got good news for you then, because this official figurine is part of the collector's edition of Dying Light 2, and you can get one for yourself if you want. We'll leave like a proper unboxing of the whole set to the professionals, but we do have it all in front of us right now, so it'd be rude not to take a look. You get, in the collector's edition, a concept art book full of stunning artwork from the game. You get this steel book, which will have your game inside it, of course. And you get this interesting little sort of UV flashlight, so yeah.
Cool. It looks like there's all sorts of vanity elements in here, too, like some legendary skin packs, as well as all sorts of digital elements. For more information on these digital elements, please visit the pre-order website. I want this. And I want Dying Light 2.
Kind of thought you'd say that. Well, if you're feeling the same way, then I've got good news, because you can pre-order the collector's edition. However, it is very, very limited, so you'll have to be very quick.
Rest assured, there will be plenty of the standard edition for your standard gamer, but if you're into special editions, there is a deluxe edition of Dying Light 2 with a steel book, a legendary pack, and a digital soundtrack, and much, much more.
So to summarize, that's 3 different editions that you can buy depending on what you're after. And if you just can't wait until release to get immersed in the world of Dying Light 2, then why don't you go check out the Techland Gamers and Goodies website for more info.
Yeah, this is a program for all gamers, whether or not you want updates on Dying Light 2 with the news, or you want Dying Light 2 items in Dying Light 1. Everyone's going to find something they like there.
Yep, and this is just an initial offering as well. Check back later for even more details, more information, and we'll be going through it in future episodes as well.
That's it. Don't forget to pre-order the game and take part in our contests. The details are on the game's website.
And here's a sneak peek at the topic of the next episode. Thank you for watching, and stay safe out there. Bye.
See ya.
What's up, everyone? Welcome on back to the weekly. I am Story Mode Bay, joined by my incredible co-host Technique, and that was the Techland stream for Dying Light 2. How are we feeling, everyone? I mean, I don't know about you, but I am a sucker for graphics, and ooh, that game looked good to me. Frank, what did you think?
Stuff be running
Okay,
after
fair.
you, man. No, I'm never going out at night. I don't care what kind of loot's in that building. I played that game I was super excited for the game when it first came out because I'm a big parkour fan and stuff. And I was like, oh, them both worlds together that I love. And heck no. Did you see the evolution zombies? No, I'm good. Talking about some going there at night to get some loot. Not this guy. Nah.
Nah.
Staying in the
We're
light.
not doing
Matter
it.
of fact, let me just work on the structure. You know? But anyway, chat, we would like to know your thoughts and on the whole matter of it all as well. So make sure you're paying attention in chat. Make sure you look at the vote on the polls. And also, we love seeing those comments up right there. We really appreciate it. That collector's edition looking fire though. I'm not gonna lie. It has a working light on it, which I like to obviously collect light up stuff. So I might have to get it just for that only.
Yes. And like Frank already said, please put your questions in the chat because I don't know about you, but I definitely have questions for our next guest coming on up. They are the lead game designer of Dying Light 2. Dying Light 2 follows the hit 2015 game Dying Light, which is a zombie parkour game with fun movement mechanics and an exciting open world. You can expect Dying Light 2 to have improved parkour. It has brutal combat and enhanced environments. Now, we just did watch the Techland reveal a ton of new information right before this. So we are so excited to have you sit down and chat with Timon Smektala. Let's say hi to Timon. Welcome on in. How are you?
Hi guys,
Hello.
I'm so excited. Lily, can you hear me? Because I'm not sure if you can hear me, but like my voice is trembling with the excitement. We have been preparing this for quite some time, and like you can imagine, it's really crazy out here at our studio, at our office.
I love the setup, by the way. Your setup is really, really nice.
Oh,
It's
thank
very
you.
great.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the series. Today's show is a lot about zombies, apparently. we had Zack Snyder
Well,
on
don't call
earlier
them
about
zombies.
Now we
Like,
have you.
Monsters.
Yes, exactly.
Sorry?
Monsters. These are infected, and don't call them zombies because these are monsters. These are infected beings that you will have to face and fight in Dying Light 2.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out because I was gonna say a lot of people push the zombie parkour game is what you hear about Dying Light, but yeah, you got monsters now. You got full-fledged things that seem like they even think, run. They set up traps for you. They hoard around you. This is a terrifying nightmare for me, but I'm gonna play the game. That's all I gotta say.
Oh
my
my goodness. Now, again, chat at home, please make sure you fill the chat with a bunch of questions. Now, my first personal question, from watching that trailer, I love that your choices matter in the game. I think that's so important and incredible. How did you come about kind of creating that idea that what the player does truly matters and changes that environment around as well?
So Dying Light was always about freedom, especially a freedom of movement. We started with this because we gave players the ability to traverse environment with great ease, be able to climb over every wall, climb on top of every building. And we realized that we have created freedom in parkour. We have also created freedom in combat, but there was one element in the previous game which didn't really have this element, and it was the story. The story was linear, scripted. You had to follow it, so there wasn't really that many spaces for you to express yourself. So that was the idea for Dying Light 2, that we wanted to give you the same amount of freedom as you have in your sandbox gameplay when it comes to the narrative. So in Dying Light 2, the choices and consequences, they work on 3 different levels. So it's not just like a branching narrative that you choose like choice A or choice B and you take the story in one direction or another. There are actually 3 levels of it and they are all interconnected. So first of all, there are the big story decisions, which usually really change how the game flows, what happens in the world, what characters live, what characters die, but also those choices usually bring significant big changes to the world, to the city, to the gameplay environment around you. Another layer of this is the city alignment system. So this is a little bit more systemic. So as was explained in the Dying to Know episode, you get to assign a couple of areas, a couple of big zones to one of the factions in the game. And depending on your choices, you decide which gameplay elements, which gameplay mechanics should be introduced to your world. And then there's the third layer, which are smaller decisions inside missions. So maybe they have consequences which are contained only within the space, within the area of that side mission, but sometimes they really make you stop and wonder, what will I do? Those are the decisions that maybe don't have that much of an impact on the game, but make you think, what kind of a person I am? Am I making the right choices? Am I staying human in those circumstances that we have in Dying Light 2 world? So there are 3 levels of those different choices and consequences. They are interconnected. So sometimes your decisions in the city alignment system impact the main storyline. Sometimes the small side missions also impact the main storyline. So really it is all connected and really allows you to create a different version of this world, a different version of this reality.
Wow.
I'm blown away. I love all the layers. I'm a layered person. I really like different layers in games, especially the one thing that I can tell you that I really don't enjoy doing is running straight through a game and having choices and it really doesn't matter, you know, and I end up in the same thing at the end. So I'm super happy that you explained that to us, because having layers is what makes games great and the replayability of the game even great. Now, to speak on which, I'm one of those guys that like to play on the hardest setting. So somebody in chat also named DJ Kazan says, are there difficulty modes?
So yes, definitely they are. So you start with a basic difficulty mode, which is like, I would say, of course, the most accessible one. So every player can pick it up, play it. I believe he'll be able to finish the game, experience most of what the game has to offer, have fun doing this and feeling awesome, because the character that we have in the game, Aiden Caldwell, he's really doing crazy things when he fights, when he traverses. You really feel amazing when you do that, especially that it's a first-person game, so it's very, very immersive. But then you also have like a difficult mode, hard mode, which we called, like internally, it's called Haran Survivors mode. So it's for all of the guys that have finished Dying Light 1 and they want that extra challenge. They know how to play the game, they know the basics of it, they know how to how to interact with the controller to achieve what they want in Dying Light. So we give you the hard stuff. We give you we really try to challenge you. And then there is the Night Runner mode. And this is a mode which is a little bit more immersive, a little bit more realistic. Like, we don't go into a territory of survivor mode or anything like that, but we remove some elements of the HUD. We make it a little bit harder for you to heal yourself, to find crafting resources. So like, if you really want that extra tough challenge, then you go for the last one, for the Night Runner difficulty mode.
Wow. All right.
Challenge.
I'll be playing on easy.
You like that, huh?
It's fine. I'll play on easy. We do have Goofy
so
Hero.
we have something for you as well. Like, the basic one is for you.
Oh, perfect. That makes me happy. Perfect. We do have Goofy Hero in the chat that would like to know, what's your favorite type of monster that you created for Dying Light 2?
So you could show some of them in the trailer that we have just published and just presented. And I don't want to go too much into this, because what we did with the first trailer was actually teasing you what's going to happen in Dying Light 2 in terms of monsters. Like, before the game releases, we still have some time. We will be giving you more visuals and more information about it. But if you ask me about my favorite one, then let me think. Maybe there was... Okay, so I will not tell you everything, but there's one scene in the trailer with a lady that runs through some kind of a laboratory. And I would say she's my favorite one, because she really can mess with your head when she's around you. So watch out for her, and watch out for more information about her coming up soon.
Oh, no. Okay, so a big feature is the combat and parkour that you have in the game. Not many people tackle this very well. How did you go about tackling parkour and combat to make it flow so well in your game?
I must say it was easier for us after the first game. Like, we have worked on the first one for about 4 years, so we had plenty of time to I wouldn't say master it, but get quite good at it. But for the second one, we are improving on everything we have learned so far. And I think the interesting thing is that we wanted to combine those two elements even more in Dying Light 2. So in the first one, you had parkour, you had combat, but there weren't that many chances for you to actually combine parkour moves with combat moves. But with Dying Light 2, we are introducing new combat skills and a new fighting playstyle, which we call internally the parkour combat. And this is something where you can actually seamlessly combine parkour and combat. So for example, imagine there's a guy in front of you and some of his friends, all guys, and you want to get rid of them. So you fight with the first one. If you hit him right, then he gets staggered. If he gets staggered, he bows down, and then you can use it. You can jump on the guy and maybe use him as a platform to kick the next one. Or maybe jump on him, do like a double jump, and then land with a huge ground pound and smash like the area around you, and all of the guys are suddenly staggered or gone or damaged. And like you can really feel like this like amazing person that jumps from guy to guy, hits this one, hits the other one, and like doesn't stop moving around the battlefield until everyone is gone, and then you just look around and all of those guys are dead, and you can just loot them, get some resources, etc., etc. So it's one of the new fighting playstyles we are introducing with this game. But of course, if you don't want to be this subtle, you can just go in with two-handed weapon, almost like a tank, and just swing from side to side and hack and slash everyone.
Ooh.
Nice.
Now, I would love to get more into the, day and night of the game and how it kind of changes, because it sounded like depending on what time of day you're traveling and exploring in, there's different pros and cons. So what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so it was very important for us because the day and night cycle is the Dying Light DNA. Like you can get it even by the title. So those two halves of the game are actually very, very different. So I think it's all built on the most important rule of this world, which is the day is for humans, but the night is for the monsters. It's all because the UV light, it weakens the infection. It makes the infected weaker and slower and more vulnerable. So the sun became a powerful ally for the humankind and for the humans in our world. So during the day, I would say it's almost safe. Like the infected, they are hiding inside the buildings, inside interiors, under bridges, everywhere where there's some kind of shade, some kind of darkness. So this gives opportunity for humans to go out and do their daily stuff, like maybe load something, maybe like try to build some constructions, maybe work on some fields or whatever they do during the day. It's not entirely safe because there are still quite a lot of infected on the streets. They are weaker, they are slower. You can kill them more easily. But there are also bandits and marauders and basically thugs that prey on the survivors. So still you have to keep on your toes, have your eyes all around your head and make sure that no one is there to ambush you. But the day is mostly for you to complete your missions, complete your quests, maybe do something for this faction or another. But when the night starts, it changes the whole map. So the infected, they leave the buildings, they pour out on the streets, like as we say in the trailer, like decaying lava. And now you have to use the verticality of the world, and you have to climb on the rooftops, and then you start traversing on the rooftops, looking down if there's an opportunity for you to go down and maybe do something. And the important thing is that, of course, when the infected are leaving the interiors, the buildings, then you can go there. And if there is anything that's really valuable, like any craft parts, any weapons, any things maybe needed for the quests, for the missions, then the night time is the best time to go inside buildings and explore them and try to use the fact that the infected are out on the streets. So it's like two completely different halves of the same experience.
Ooh, ay.
Yeah, layers indeed. We have a question from Kick Eater in chat, and this is a very good question. Do monsters evolve as the game progresses, or do they just stay static types?
Yes, they do evolve actually. So like again, like I can talk about it for hours, but the whole concept of infected in our game is based on this slogan, on this phrase, the infection has evolved. So it's not only evolved compared to the first game, but also it evolves as you play the game. So one thing, for example, is that as you start the game, you start encountering monsters, infected, maybe some of those that you have already seen in the first game. But then they get more and more advanced, more and more upgraded. They get new moves and new behaviors and also new visuals. So even if there's like a guy like a Demolisher, a guy that you know from the first game, you start with him and you see, okay, he's kind of like the same, maybe he looks different, but he kind of behaves in a very similar way. But then after some time, he progresses, he advances, he undergoes an evolution, and then he gets new moves. And I think when you start seeing what we did with the guys you know from the first game, you will be pretty amazed. And when you see the new guys, the new infected, the new enemies, then you will really think we're crazy with giving you so much horror on the screen.
I love it. I think it's perfect.
Oh my goodness. Simone, we want to thank you again for taking the time to speak with us. But before you go, can you let fans at home know where they can find you or more information about the game?
Okay, so absolutely go visit our website and also go visit our techlandgg.com site where you can start being a part of the contest that we have there. Of course, follow our social media channels. Basically, just stay with us. We need your support, guys. It's like half a year till the release, 6 months. We really need that energy. So please be with us and support us, and you will get a great game in the end. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you again.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for being here. It was incredible to have you, and looking forward to seeing more news about the game. And thank you for your excitement on the game. It really got me excited as well.
Yes.
Like, I can't contain it, so it's just force.
Thank
you have a beautiful day.
Oh my gosh.
That's one thing I love, Brie. I love seeing developers just super happy about their game and like excited to get the experience in their hands. It takes me back to the old days where people would just, devs would just be happy to have people just play their game in general. So chat, you know it. I see all the love out there for certain games that you guys are hyped about. We appreciate it. Definitely go out there and go to those forums. You have multiple tools to go and check them out, like Discords and websites and forums and stuff. They're watching it. So if you ever want to put your input, go for it.
Yeah.
Be a positive gamer. Dying Light 1 was already evolved at the time of release. Dying Light 2 do a trick for sure. That's right. Ooh. That's right. I'm super excited for it. But we still have more stuff coming up. And one of the most important things, talking about childhood, right? We're going to be talking about Sonic. Sega. Oh, man, I miss it. We're going to be talking about Sonic, guys. Oh, my goodness. So the Sonic Anniversary presentation will give a first look at the upcoming stuff. Today, we had it happen. It was earlier today, and it was pretty amazing at that. The Sonic franchise turns 30 next month. 30. That's most of my lifetime. I've been with Sonic right there. I'm not going to say how much of it, but it's there.
We all have to.
Yeah. Sega's announced Sonic Central, looking on the horizon of Sonic franchise. We used to only get information at big conferences, but now we're getting reveals at showcases every week. And let me tell you, for me personally, this is very, very, very important. I mean, granted, a lot of people were saying, man, that showcase was really short. Can we call that a showcase? Why wasn't that an email? But true Sonic fans for a long time, childhood lovers of the series, we just wanted to hear something, and we got a whole lot of something, honestly. And I kind of dig the short little showcase because it said the things I wanted to find out, and they didn't waste any time with it. What about you, Brie?
Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit on the shorter side. I feel like it was 15 to 20 minutes, maybe. Honestly, I was expecting maybe a new Sonic game. Well, we didn't get a new Sonic game. They definitely did talk about Sonic Colors. I feel like they talked about an animated series. Sonic has a feature in 2 Point Hospital. And when all else fails, you could get yourself a Sonic chain if you're into that. Go ahead and buy your Sonic chain merch. I did see that.
That's true. A baby Sonic chain at that. I mean, technically we are going to get a Sonic new game in 2022. I'm kind of hyped about that. So they at the end they kind of did the Nintendo you know how Nintendo Japan and like Nintendo Corporate America like go back and forth with each other. They kind of pulled that off, and it was like, but wait, we're not done. And yeah, they announced the new Sonic in 2022. No information, just just a teaser date, which I personally am okay with that because I don't like full trailers, and they'd be like, yeah, coming out in 2026. You're like, what?
Okay, fair.
Why?
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, but
That's
Sonic
fair,
Colors
yeah.
Ultimate is coming out for current day systems. I'm hyped about that. We'll be playing it. It looked amazing, so I cannot wait. Oh, the chat results are in for the topic. It says 36% say that Sonic was integral to my childhood. Yes, honestly, I'm really happy, and I think a lot of the modern day lovers of video games should really embrace the old school. And I want to see how these game developers actually try to modernize it so that the modern day childhood of kids could get into it, because a lot of people are into like shooters and stuff now, so they don't really get to experience what we experienced.
Bring it on back. I mean, Sonic is just a classic. I mean, you can't go wrong with Sonic. And I think what you were saying too is so cool, just to bring it to newer generations as well. So I'm excited for the future.
Yep. But the future is not, because I know there's a lot of people out there. We were talking about a lot of horror. It might as well be October at the moment, because we are on a horror theme right now. Our next interview is by the Dead. We're going to bring in the Dead by Daylight. That's right. So we're going to be bringing in our next guest, who's the game director behind Dead by Daylight, an asymmetrical multiplayer horror game where one player takes on the role of a brutal killer while the other 4 players fight to survive. Earlier this week, they did a 5th anniversary celebration on Twitch with an in-depth reveal of the upcoming Resident Evil chapter. Before we meet Matthew Cote, I hope I said your name right, and if I didn't, you can correct me later. Let's look into their 5th anniversary recap video.
Matthew, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you very much for having me.
Of course, of
being
course.
here.
We do love the cat cam. I have to say, we do love pets on the show. So
it's my zoo. I'm at home, so
Aww.
yes.
I see multiple in the dog.
Yeah,
So
Roxy,
cute,
and
the
then
cat
that's
is not being denied.
yeah. He does not want to stop. So that's Agent Cooper.
It's like, Dad, please. Oh,
Hopefully he
goodness.
leads me to work. All right.
Oh,
Right.
It's a pleasure having you here today. And like I said, I have watched Dead by Daylight over the years, from early development stages here on Twitch to the monster that it is now. I mean, you have to be excited and just pleased that your hard work, you and your team's hard work, to see where it was and where it's going. You're already on your 5th anniversary. That's mind blowing.
Yeah, it's. I think the correct term is something that batshit crazy. I mean, it's.
Yes.
We
Can't
made
say
this
it
little game 5 years ago. We talked a little bit about it in the anniversary, where we were a team of 30 people. We had a really cool idea. We sort of released something that was the bare bones version of our dream, and now 5 years down the line, it's like we call it the Hall of Fame of horror, because yes, this Resident Evil and Silent Hill and Freddy Krueger is there, Michael Myers, name it, like all those iconic legends of horror are right there in the game, and they're all playing together. It's insane. It's been quite a ride.
Yes. Now, I mean, as we all know, Dead by Daylight is no stranger to crossovers at all. So I would love to know, how did you approach this latest crossover with Resident Evil?
It's it's one of those things where it's sort of a dream come true. I mean, like you were talking about how Sonic has sort of been with you your whole life, or almost. For a lot of us on the team, Resident Evil has been there with us every step of the way. There's been milestone through our life where the new Resident Evil came out, but it's always been there. It's always been present. When I became a game developer, I was hoping to one day be able to be a part of that group that contains the giants like Capcom, that have created such amazing things through the years. And so working with them on something like that is a humbling experience, but it's also one of the proudest moments of our career. It's so cool to be able to recreate these environments that people know and love, and be able to give them sort of a new twist. Do a little homage, put a little winks in there to a few different things. This map was one of the most ambitious ones we've ever made. It's a really cool recreation of the Raccoon City Police Department. And then, of course, bringing, Nemesis into the game. And yeah, it's something. It's something. He's way too big. Like, he's so gigantic. We had issues getting him through the door frames in some cases, but he's there. We made it work.
Oh my goodness, what a fantastic experience to be able to see. You're really the only one in your genre right now. When anybody thinks of this genre of game, like Dead by Daylight is like number one. Well, I have to ask. You've worked with so many amazing, horror film adaptations, and you brought in Resident Evil recently. Chat, we want to know, what's your favorite survival killer? And Matt, I have to ask, do you have a favorite survivor killer?
I can't possibly say that because yes, to a certain extent. And I have to say, I love the original content. Like, we've done so many really cool things over the years, specifically, going to sort of scratch under people's beds and see what kind of boogeyman lives there. Like, these kind of things are universal. They bring people together to a certain extent, and it's been really fun to do that. I have to say, getting Ash Williams and working with Bruce Campbell to do that was kind of a thing for me. It's hard to talk about cult horror without talking about Mr. Bruce Campbell. And so being able to get him was something. But I say that, and as the words leave my mouth, I'm reminded of all the other really cool interactions we've had. Like, just before, obviously Resident Evil is gigantic. We managed to get Pyramid Head into the game last year. It's crazy. Like, Silent Hill is there. And then you talk about Stranger Things, the Demogorgon, and the Hawkins Lab, which is the biggest thing that was done in horror, and specifically like the whole nostalgia of the 80s that's in there, that's very close to what we do too. And even the very first one we brought in, someone posted in the chat, like, Michael Myers, and it's true. 4.5 years ago, we released Michael Myers. It was the first time we were able to get a license, and he is one of the first. I mean, Laurie Strode and Michael Myers, it's hard to find something that's more legendary than that when you talk about horror movie. Like, he's the stalker, and she's the last girl. So it's kind of a dream.
Man.
And the original music you guys have in there. Let's go, man. I love it.
Well, that's it. That's also been quite a thrill. And it's insane that we've been able to have all of these really all of these are really strong universes, really powerful characters that sort of stand on a long legacy of lore and stories that have been told about them, and they sort of somehow we created a universe with the sort of the entity creating this world and the trials and all these characters, and so everybody can come in and live in that world of the entity, and it sort of makes sense, like in a nightmare where you did a marathon with your friends, you watch all these horror movies and you played all those horror games, and you have nightmares that are sort of peppered with all of these references, and in your nightmare it makes sense. It's absolutely fine that you're being chased by Michael Myers in the asylum from the doctor, or the Raccoon City Police Department with Freddy Krueger in it, and you're like, no, yes, it makes sense. You're terrified of it. If you're trying to tell your friends the next day, it doesn't make sense, but in the moment, it does.
Wait a minute, I'm seeing zombies in this.
You show added.
Cool.
We
Cool.
For the very first time, now that we have Nemesis in the game, we also added AI-controlled enemies. So you have zombies as opposed to the monsters in the other game. We have actual zombies now roaming around the map and screwing with survivors' chances, and it's kind of cool to be able to bring that in.
Oh my gosh. Now, being that Jill and Leon are the new survivors, can you talk to us about what their unique set of perks maybe?
A little bit, but the thing to know also is that the PTB is live right now, which is our public test build. This is where we release stuff a little bit before. So right now people can go and play the Resident Evil chapter. But during the public test build, we always make a lot of changes. The balance of a game like Dead by Daylight is so very difficult to maintain and to adjust because it's such a chaotic game. We don't want things to be perfectly balanced, obviously. We want things to be perfectly fun to play. But that's it. So we created new power sets, we created new perks, and until we're at the end of that trial period, we're not exactly sure how they're going to play out or how we're going to change them. So the details of them are still a little up in the air. But one of the things that we brought in that I think has made the most noise is the fact that Leon has flashbang grenades. So as he repairs generators, he sort of gets the ability to throw flashbang grenades, and that's going to be so annoying. Personally, I play Killer much more than I play Survivor, mostly because I'm a wuss, so I'm just scared. And when you're the Killer, you don't get scared. You just murder people instead. But getting flashbanged is gonna suck. I'm gonna tell you already.
Well,
but it's gonna be super fun.
Yeah, I can't wait because I'm one of those people that complain about the killers being able to beat me up pretty easily. So I'm going for the flashbangs. But I have to ask. We talk about all these iconic, killers that you have in there, but I'm a personal fan favorite of your originals because you guys, a lot of people may not know, they pack some great lore behind their killers.
Yes.
Is there anything in the near future that you're going to be doing that really brings out the lore more? Maybe like a story mode or something? Or
Well, that is a very good question. I don't think we'll... And I say that we tend to break every rule that we make as we make them, but I don't think we'll ever make a story mode per se.
Okay.
But the archives have become more and more as a vehicle for us to paint a lot more lore and to create more of those like one-shot little challenges and different ways to play. But mostly the tomes of the archive, every time there's a new tome, there's quite a lot of backstory and lore that we are able to infuse in there, and we're gonna keep doing that. That's for certain. The last tome that was released is all about Bill from Left 4 Dead, which is kind of interesting because it's the first time we tell the story of someone else. But there will be much more, and obviously I'm gonna get in trouble with our PR manager, but she's not physically next to me, so she can't tackle me as she usually does. But there are many other ways where we can tell the Dead by Daylight story. There are many stories that we want to tell about the entity, the world of the entity, and the people sort of struggling in it. And we are working on a few really interesting ways to tell those stories. So I'll leave it at that for now. I'll be ridiculously mysterious and annoying, but that's what I do.
I tried that. We got something out of them, though. We got it there, fans. Oh, man, I'm happy. Thank you for answering that.
Yeah, she just said she will tackle me next time she sees me, so I'm in trouble. But that's okay.
There you go.
That's a problem for future me.
Right. We'll deal with it later. But we do have some fans that would love to know, what can you tell us about the Funko Pops? Do you have any coming up that we can know about?
So, yeah. That was super fun, actually, that announcement of the Funko Pop with sort of a card we kept in our really close to chat. Actually, a few people on the team didn't even know that was going to be an announcement as part of the anniversary. We sort of hid it because we knew it pulls at a very special string in people's hearts, having those little pop. So at this point, I can't say anything other than we are doing some Funko Pops. There's gonna be a list at some point that we're gonna announce of the characters. It's what I can say is that it's gonna be original content.
Oh,
it's all gonna be original Dead by Daylight content.
Oh my goodness, Matthew! I am so excited and proud of your team. I've been since the beginning, seeing it develop from what it was and where it is now, and I can only imagine where you're going. The fans are true fans. I have friends that dress up. They announce when they're fog whisperers. They go bananas for it, and I'm always here for it. Before you go, one of the most. Know if we don't, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna. It's one of the most beautiful things for us being able to see day in and day out the absolutely pure passion that we get from these people, the commitment, and it sort of renews our energy every day. We go, okay, this is why we do this. I mean, obviously we want to make video games because it's our passion, and frankly, I wouldn't know what to do if I wasn't doing that. But but having these people that every day they share their stories, that's one of the things that we're doing during the anniversary event, is we're inviting people to share their stories. There's so many stories of people who met through Dead by Daylight, or the game helped them through some stuff, or they met some friends, or they renewed friendships, or they have kids that they named after Dead by Daylight, tattoos, whatever. We're inviting people to share their stories because we are curious, but also because we want to be able to rebroadcast them and give them visibility. It's important for us. This game is stopped being our game the moment we released it, and now it's our game with a capital O, with every single person that, like you're saying, the cosplayers, people who do, video clips of content creators, people who make Dead by Daylight cakes, all of these people, it's their game too, and we want to make sure that they know that we feel that way.
I think everybody does feel it and know it, and I personally love seeing it, and I love seeing your enthusiasm, and I can't wait to see what you bring. But before you go, we have to get more information. Where can we find more information about the games, maybe even the studio or anything else you have coming up? And
obviously, the website, I believe it's deadbydaylight.com. It's got all of our information. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on all social media. I think you'll find us. It's where you'll get all of our information. We have a really cool community team that spends their time trying to get all that information across. So that's where you get that. And you'll be able to follow during the month of June. We're gonna do a lot of really cool community events because it's our anniversary month. It's also Pride Month. We have a really cool little thing called Into the Rainbow, which is a slight departure from Into the Fog that we usually do. It's just colorful this time, but it's super nice. But that's it. So social media and the Dead by Daylight website is where you'll find it. If you want to know more about the company, go check behavior.com. I think all the information is there. Behavior is a really cool company. I'm very proud to be there. We tend to, we do a lot of work. We've been making games for about 30 years. And the last 5 years have changed the company a little bit because of Dead by Daylight. Because mostly it's a company that does work for hire. It's a company that does games for other people, whether it's licensors or other developers, helping them ship their product. But then when Dead by Daylight came out, that business unit, that department that we had that was trying to work on our own IPs, became something that's much more structured and much bigger. I mean, like I said, we shipped with about 30 people 5 years ago. Now Dead by Daylight is about 300 people working on the game day in and day out. If you count every single person that's involved in this from close or from far, it's a big machine now. But that's the thing. We decided to put literally our money where our mouth is. Double down on something that was worth it, and it was the right choice. So
yes,
we're lucky that we get to keep doing this day in and day out.
We're lucky to have it. But thank you so very, very much for joining us today, Matthew. And I wish the absolute best. And I'll be following all those medias already. So I'll be watching from the game and from the sidelines.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you so very much for having me. You guys have a really cool crowd.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was my last day, man. What an awesome man. Today has been so good. Like I said, I love when devs gush about their experiences and their games, and I just love even more chat when you gush about the games and experiences as well, because it makes me and Bree, I'm sure, and definitely the production crew and everybody around Twitch Gaming feels so great that we can bring a show like this to bring you closer to those that you love.
Yeah. I mean, I would say the chat has definitely been gushing, but oh my gosh, there has been so much passion and love around games today. And just like what you were saying, when you see those developers really light up when they're talking about their game and their vision. And I feel like, Frank, we might as well get into it, because the chat has been dragging us this entire show about our next guest coming up. They are the developers behind Ark Survival Evolved, which is an exciting action-adventure survival game where players must survive being stranded on an island filled with roaming dinosaurs and other hostile challenges. Now, Ark's next expansion, Genesis Part 2, will introduce a vast world filled with strange new biomes, story missions, and exotic creatures. But everyone, before we meet the developers, let's take a look at a trailer for Ark Survival Evolved Genesis Part 2. Here we go.
Welcome, survivor. Enjoy the view. You see before you the pinnacle of mankind's ingenuity. All of humanity's hopes and dreams carefully nestled within this lifeboat. Each of its shining rings are laden with miracles of science and nature. A paradise where the boundary between the biological and technological has been all but erased. And now all of it is mine. I control this vessel now. I command its evolution, and very soon, its destination. From there, my will shall spread across the cosmos forever, infinite and undying. And there's nothing you or that witless puppet, that shadow of her, can do to stop me. I have already set my designs in motion. Our future awaits. survivor.
Cedric and Jesse, welcome on into the weekly. How are you both feeling
Hello.
today?
Great.
Excited.
I can't get
Pretty
enough.
hyped.
Can't get enough of David Tennant's voice. Every time I hear him, I'm like, man, he is Rockwell. Thanks for having us on.
Wow.
Of course.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Jesse. I don't know if you remember me, but we go pretty way back, man. Back when the game first hit the ground running here on Twitch.
You're talking about
like
6
a small
years
group of
ago.
streamers. Yeah. And I mean,
Oh, wow.
It's hard to believe.
Times, man.
It's hard to believe that it's been
I can't
6
believe
years.
where we are right now with art. It's like
It's
we
crazy.
were out on the shores, we fell on the shores, and we were making funny characters running around, beating up dinosaurs, trying to tame them, dying constantly. And here we are today with a full-fledged story, it looks like, and just astronomical growth from you and your team. And have you seen the chat? Like, they would not.
I've been in chat for
stop.
like 45 minutes. I'm like, oh gosh.
The beginning of
Well,
the
you know,
show,
it's funny.
it was
It's
just
It's funny you mentioned that because we started 6 years ago. We wanted to make a survival game that had a fun twist. So riding dinosaurs seemed like a cool thing to do. But, here we are 6 years later, and we've got an awesome story that's developing across mediums. As you can see, the fan base has just been amazing and just always hungry for more content. And it's really driven us as a studio to grow and get better. I mean, a lot of people know, we have a lot of veteran developers on our team, but this was our first game together, and it's just been an amazing ride. And we're super excited about Gen 2. I mean, we took a lot of the stuff that we liked about Genesis 1. We really listened to the community about the things they felt we kind of missed the mark on, and we feel that Gen 2 is really going to make people super excited. It's the largest map playable area that we've ever put out. It's got all sorts of things that we've never even tried before that we think are going to be awesome for people. And of course, we got David Tennant, we got Maddie Madden voicing HLNA now, which they also provide voices in other mediums as well for ARC. And it's really been a sea change, I think, in how we develop the IP from a just don't die survival game to trying to give a little bit of a reason for surviving and motivation, so to put it lightly.
I got a pretty loaded question. And Cedric, I see you over there. We knew you were a player first before you jumped on board with everything. So this is for both you, Cedric, and Jesse. What do we have to look forward to in Gen 2?
Jesse,
got
you
any
wanna go
favorites,
first,
Sid?
or?
Okay, sure.
I think for me, I think as I engage with the community quite a lot, and a lot of these players have been playing for 5 and 6 years, and they have accumulated things in game 5 to 6 years worth of things. I mean, you can go and watch an A&E Hoarder show, and you'll pretty much see what our game looks like on official servers. So I think the thing I'm most excited about for this expansion is the fact that there's a lot of quality of life elements that are being added, things that are going to make the game a lot more manageable for people that have these existences that, some people have thousands of dinosaurs that they have to maintain. So there's a lot of things like the egg incubator. There are things in this DLC that I think people are going to be really excited about and are going to make their lives a lot easier on top of just being really good content.
Yeah, I mean, I'll second that. It's like a lot of what we've done is, since this is ARC's last planned paid expansion before that sequel comes out that everybody's excited about, we really wanted to take a look at the game and say, all right, what kind of things can we do with this expansion that are also going to make the things people do in the game more fun, and in a lot of ways less grindy in some cases, and really respond to feedback, also providing stuff new. Aside from that, I mean, I think my favorite thing probably in this expansion is our space dolphin, the Astrodelphus. It's just so crazy. Like, I never thought when we started Ark that we would make a flying dolphin creature that like puts on this crazy saddle that makes it do just insane stuff. Like, I don't know. It's just, to me, it's just, it's an exact example of how far we've tried to push Ark with, like, okay, what else can we throw in this game? But other than that, I think the map itself is my favorite thing. I mean, I think players are really going to love Genesis 2. As I mentioned, it's the biggest map we've ever put out. It's bigger than Ragnarok. It's really got a lot of places to play in. And when we did missions for Genesis 2, missions were a new thing in Genesis 1. Some people didn't like that a lot of the missions kind of took up some of the play area. We fixed that for Genesis 2. All the missions are much more story themed. They kind of occur outside of the play area. It doesn't get messed up with where people want to build and roam and do all that free play stuff. And on top of that, the map is just massive and it's so diverse. I mean, there's just the art team has done an awesome job with this map, and we really try to give players something they wouldn't see in just a mod. So this map being on a giant spaceship hurtling through space and seeing bits of that in the sky and going between technical stuff and gooey horror themed stuff with Rockwell's World and then the sort of tranquil Eden biomes. I think players are really going to love all parts of this map.
Wow. I mean, I want to take this time to remind the chat and everyone at home watching, please put some questions in the chat so Technique and I can go ahead and bring them over to the show. Now, while I do want to know more about these space dolphins, I would love to know from the both of you, are there any new weapons that you're excited about with Gen 2?
Oh, me, for sure. I would say the tech bow. I think for the longest, for the longest, way before, we even really started getting into some of the heavier tech elements, I've always wanted a different bow. I think for fans that are watching, I created Primitive Plus, and I think I have 3 or 4 different bows. Recurve bow. I have different bows. So I'm a fan of bows. It's easy to say that the tech bow is going to be my favorite weapon in Gen 2.
Ooh. All right, Jesse, he took yours. How are you feeling? Do you have another favorite?
It's kind of a, I would have to say it's kind of a hybrid is the Exomech. It's kind of a weapon / item. And it's pretty crazy. It's unlike a lot of the stuff we've done in Ark before, and it's got some really, really cool gameplay mechanics that go with it. So we're really looking forward to people seeing what they do with that.
Ooh.
Kind of gives you like an RTS view of the game, which is really unique.
Oh, that's nice. I can't wait for that.
Talk about doing new stuff in Ark.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here, we're going to throw in another when you get this item.
Right.
I can't wait. You speak about some quality of life stuff. A big thing that's in Ark that is, besides the dinosaurs, obviously very big, is building. How did you guys build on building in Ark to make it more, accessible and easier to snap grids or, build up? Was that a big part of Gen 2?
I would say there's still more work to do there. I'll be honest. I play a lot of building games, and I think we learned a lot about. I think what Ark taught us is some of the creative thing that players love to do, and that's legally and illegally. When you have an official server, some people love to build things that you probably wouldn't want to see. It's kind of fair or cheating. So I would say Ark 1 taught us a lot in terms of building. In fact, we just had a recent event by, we have a group called the Architects, and they do building events, and some of the things they built in this event, they're Star Wars replicas of things. It's easy to say that I think we learned a lot in our building system, and I think we'll take that into Ark 2. And kind of expand on that. I don't think we added any more mechanics for Gen 2 in terms of building, and the designers will be shooting me right now if I'm wrong about this, but I don't think we did. But if we did, then the players got a nice treat when they when they loaded up on June 2nd. But I would say definitely we want to expand on that because our players have taught us a lot about what they want to build, how they want to build, and things that we can do in the future to help ease some of their frustrations with building. I think building in all survival games. I mean, I played Valheim, play a lot of different survival games for inspiration and for passion. Things I'm a passion of the genre. So I think we're learning a lot about how games are iterating on building and making things easier for the builders out there.
Man, I'm excited for this. We do have a chat question coming on in. Now, I know both of you already talked about some of your favorite features in Gen 2, but NSYNC ISO wants to know, if you could pick just one, what would be the best feature in ARC Gen Part 2?
The best feature? Oh, I thought you meant in ARC all up.
Oh, no?
Oh, yeah. In ARC altogether, yeah, that's an easy one. But in Gen 2, the best feature...
It's really hard to narrow it down. What do you think, Sed?
Yeah.
Right.
For me, it's going to come back to... because I spent a lot of time in the community, it's going to come back to things that I feel like the community is going to receive the best. And I think the things that Jesse talked about with the map and how it's a lot more open, it's a lot bigger, there's a lot more buildable areas, there's a lot more playable areas. Launching Gen 1, I know that was a big point of feedback, and in addition to the missions, but I know that was a big point of feedback from our players. So for me, the team being able to take that feedback in, work with it, make changes to the map, and then be able to show that to players, that shows that we're listening, in my opinion, and it shows that we're taking that feedback in. So it's very important that we show our players that we're listening, because ARC is a community built team. It's a community built game. I think we've hired, we did the math the other day, I think we hired close to 20 or 30 people from the community in various roles, programmers, me, we've had them in all different roles. So we believe in our community, we invest in our community, and just want to give a shout out to the community for showing up here and showing their love to us.
I have to say too, like this is sort of a wait till it comes out and see answer, but I think the vocal performances by our stars are really going to help like make this map come alive. And there's a lot of fun things we put in there, so listen to all the lines. There's some Easter eggs and puns and stuff that were really fun to make. Ooh. So it's new for ARC.
Oh snap! Yeah, I can't wait for a fully voiced crew to come in. Well, chat iridescent Zenith. Will we be seeing a return of Mei Yin and Diana from Genesis 2? Or in Genesis 2, excuse me.
That's a spoiler question.
Ooh, that is. Okay, our players are very, it's like a mix. You have a lot of players that want us to share everything, but there's a large amount of players that just don't want us. The discovery is a large part of ARC, and I think for a lot of players, they love discovering those things and having that aha moment for themselves. But I don't necessarily want to spoil that one.
I will say that
I agree. I'm a spoiler. I do not. Okay, so let me ask you another question.
Well, I can sort of non-answer it, but answer it. Gen 2 is definitely a bridge to ARC 2. That's kind of, we've said that story-wise. So we're focusing a little bit on characters you haven't seen before and some new storylines and stuff like that. But I will say it's not the last that you will hear about Mei and Diana. So if you're not satisfied with what's happening with them or not in Gen 2, there'll be more down the line. Those are some of our core characters.
There we go. And that's how you properly tease people. Sorry, I didn't do my proper. I didn't do a proper tease on that. Thank you, Jesse.
It was good. It was good. Now, for those at home watching, they would love to know, what can you tell us about the ARC Survival Ultimate Edition?
Oh, this is fun.
Jesse, go ahead and load this
up.
up.
I mean, it's we thought our 6th anniversary is a good time to put this out. I mean, it's basically everything that we've ever released in one edition. It's a big value. It's pretty cool. Like, you know, on PC, you know, if you bought any of the stuff on Steam before, it's like a complete the bundle type thing. We've tried to do that where possible, so it's not like you have to like feel like you're rebuying stuff on Steam at least. But you know, we've put out so many crazy content over the years, and I think that up until now we didn't include them all easily for people to get in one place, and this is the first time we're really doing that, and it does include Genesis, the Genesis series as well. So if you're just getting into Ark or want to check it out, it's the one to get, because it's got all the expansions and base game and all the little other things we've put out as well, and including we just did awesome new soundtrack recording live. Gareth Coker, our composer, has done all new music for Genesis Part 2, and as part of the Ultimate Survivor Edition, we're giving away the soundtrack with that as well, like the actual high quality audio files. So for people who really love live orchestration of video game music, it's sweet sounding, let me tell you. So pretty
it
fun.
is. I thought you were going to leave out the best part, Jesse. That was the best part, to be the full soundtracks. I've been getting comments on Twitter about it. People are really getting hyped now.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, he did an awesome job with that.
I love the, you know, nowadays people get so hyped about video game music because it's on a whole different level, you know, and especially now during these times, it's great to have. I remember I was playing Ark back in the day. We'd have to like construct our own little thing going on, but having that is such a great idea. But the Ultimate Edition, guys, everything in one little packed little area. Believe me, there's a lot of content. I know, when I say a lot, it's a lot of content being packed there. So make sure you guys do look out for that. Yeah. Well, I hate to do this, and I know the chat's going to be after me with torches, but we got to keep going with the show, unfortunately. But if you want to know more and want to see more, and Cedric and Jesse, if they want to converse more with you too, where can they find both of you and more information on the game?
Well, I think to find more information on the game, definitely follow our socials. That'll be on Twitter, Survive the Ark, and our Discord. Our Discord, we engage really heavily with our Discord. You can find up-to-the-date information. For myself, I'm Complex Minded on Twitter. Most of these people probably know that, and Jesse, you can shout out your info.
Yeah, and stay tuned to our website, survivetheark.com. As you guys know, Genesis is releasing next week, so we'll have an awesome gameplay trailer for you guys closer to launch, because it's got some spoilery stuff in there, and we want you to see all that stuff right when it's coming out, and we'll have some more updates for you along the way. So look forward to playing with you guys next week.
And we didn't even have to talk about Ark 2, Jesse. Look how easy that was. They're out of time. It's time to go. Man, sorry, couldn't even talk about it.
We were close. You know, they got us. They got us. They were like, I see it forming on the lips.
It's really great working with Vin. He is awesome, and he's an Ark passionate player, and Ark 2 is going to be awesome.
There we go.
There you go. We got something that we weren't expecting.
Yeah, we got some surprises for you guys along the way, too, with that. So stay tuned.
Perfect. We're good.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for being here. Take it easy, guys.
Wow,
so we got that little bit at the end, you know, we got a little spice at the end.
That's how you do it right there. That's how you do it. Y'all, we still have more show for you. Oh my gosh. Let's go ahead and bring our next guest in. I'm so excited. Everyone, our next guest is an actor, streamer, dancer, and voice actor. Now, he's best known for playing Rufio in the 1991 live-action Peter Pan film Hook, as well as his iconic voice acting roles, which includes Zuko in the Avatar Last Airbender, Legend of Korra, Jake Long, the American Dragon, everyone, just to name a few. But before we meet Dante Bosco, let's go ahead and take a look at some of his work.
American Dragon! That's Okay, mister. All right. The show's over now. You put that thing away. Now put it down before you poke somebody's eye out.
Anything to say to your peasants out there before you go, Greg?
May you never rise from the ashes of your shame and humiliation. You're all banished. Goodbye.
Oh my God.
Tell her we will be arriving in 3 days' time, and that I look forward to winning back Republic City together.
Who is this?
Oh, just some friends from school. They had to use the bathroom. Come on, guys, let's go.
What are your names? I've never seen you before.
This is Doug, and this is Rick.
Oh,
Guys.
hi. So you go to school with Ben?
Yeah, we're really good friends.
Then you should come by more often. We never get to see Ben's friends.
What would Uncle do? Zuko, you have to look within yourself to save yourself from your other self. Only then will your true self reveal itself. There are sexual
And they
undertones. There's like a
bounce.
whole phallic symbol going into the wall and then get jizzed all over the place.
Oh, no.
Dante.
Whoa.
Welcome to the show.
What's up, y'all? That's crazy.
What's
I
up,
love
man?
seeing all that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Little walk down memory lane. Little walk
There
down
you go.
memory lane.
Yes.
This ends now!